Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Meeting the Makers. And today we've got the lovely Tonya Samuels. Hi, Tonya. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. So, Tonya is Let's Design Creative. I think you're Tonya Samuel on YouTube. Is that your
Yeah.
YouTube? Yeah. So I'll put Tonya's details all down in the description box, but she is Tonya Samuels on YouTube. Let's Design Creative on Instagram. Tell me if I've got anything wrong, Tonya. Tonya Samuels on Facebook. Let's Design Creative on Etsy. Is there anything I'm missing there?
I don't have I don't have a Facebook anymore. I just have Messenger.
Oh, okay.
But I am Tanya Samuels on Facebook.
Okay, no worries. All right. Well, I'll put all the details down below anyway. So head on over and follow Tonya if you don't already. I know a few of my subscribers, well, probably many of my subscribers already do follow you. So I'm currently doing a folio flippy thingy inspired by you. So I've got it's amazing. I love your journals. They're just so interactive, and that's what I love about junk journaling and all the hidden bits and pieces. So, before we get started in the questions, Tonya, is there anything that you'd like to tell us about yourself?
Oh, well, I just turned 45. I am a mother of three. I have been married for 22 years, and I have been doing this for what, 4 years? I've
Yeah,
been on YouTube for 4 years. So that's basically it.
that's basically it. That's great. So, what made you want to start a YouTube channel?
Actually, it was kind of like therapy for me. My husband, he became a pastor, and it kind of shifted our household dynamic just a little bit. And it was my way of coping to change. It was something that I could, how can I say, control.
Yeah.
Yes, since everything else was going a little bit like, okay, I'm in new territory now. So I started it to try to kind of like cope with the change, I guess.
Yeah. And you haven't looked back.
No, I haven't. I really enjoy it actually.
Oh, that's good. I think you and I were actually on Tina's at Shabby Dabby Doodah's design team at the same time, going
Were
back
we?
quite a few years ago. Yeah. So it was about probably close to 4 years ago now. Would have been,
Uh-huh.
yeah, yeah, I'm sure we were. So that's really great. So is there any, excuse me, any one person that inspired you to start creating junk journals?
Yes, but she is not a junk journaler. She is actually she makes miniatures. Her name is Sharon Ayala on YouTube, and she has a channel where she does crochet and then she does miniatures. And she did this miniature junk journal, and it was so cute, and I loved it. And she was just it was just so tiny. It was just like this little thing, but it had so many different things in it. So I looked it up. And so she's the one that inspired me, but the one that really got me doing things is Gail Augustinelli.
She was the first one that I watched as well was Gail, and I went down that rabbit hole, just watched and watched and watched all her videos, and yeah, I think she started a lot of people on their junk journal journey, to be honest. So she's amazing, isn't she?
Is. And I loved how she didn't make it too hard. And I think the first junk journal I did was with the old book. And she just glued the pages together and then put stuff on the pages, and it was like an altered book, but kind of not. It was
Yeah,
really cool. I liked
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, it was
She's very, excuse me, she's very genuine. I
mm-hmm.
think that I think that's what everyone loves about her as well. It's what you see is what you get. So, excuse me. Um, so, do you have a memory of when you were first ever creative?
uh well, my first ever memory is because I really loved Barbie. And I wanted to I don't know, I wanted to be Barbie in a dream house, I guess. But so my creative I guess aspirations came for trying to make a Barbie dream house by myself. So I would try to build one, and I would put together all the furniture and things like that. So that was my first experience. But I did love to draw as well, because that's what I wanted to go to school for. I wanted to go to school to be an artist or an illustrator. I just didn't.
So you're not formally trained in art or anything?
I'm a graphic designer, and
Oh,
you have to take some art classes, but after a while I just stopped, I guess.
yeah.
It's not like riding a bike where you always remember. Like when you start to draw and you like stop, it's like, oh, I don't, do I know how to draw a circle? Oh, do I know how to draw hands? Things like that. So, so it's something that I kind of forgot, but I
I
don't
think,
know.
yeah, I think it's just something, any sort of art, even our junk journaling, it's a practice, isn't it? It's something that we
Mhm.
just keep doing, because otherwise you do lose that, the ability to, oh, not the ability, but the um, the thought process of, well, how do I do that? Getting your brain to connect hands and remembering all that sort of thing. So yeah. Speaking of graphic design, you do some beautiful digitals. So everybody check out Tonya's Etsy as well. I've just downloaded a couple. Now I'll get the names wrong. I didn't write them down. The beautiful blue
Huh?
rose and
Mhm.
the Paris in pink or something, I think it was.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Yes. So I'm really excited to use those. I'm working on a series of journals at the moment that they'll go perfectly with. So yeah, they're just stunning, absolutely stunning.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm really trying to get up my digital game because I've been slacking. I've really been slacking. But I
I mean,
told everybody that since I'm not doing custom orders, like, how do I put it? Since I decided not to do custom orders anymore right now, I don't know if I'm going to start again. Um, I said I'm going to focus on my YouTube channel and digital. So hopefully we'll have some good stuff coming out soon.
yeah, sure. Oh, it's beautiful. And just as I said at the beginning, the flips and the how interactive your journals are, they're just they just excite me. I love them. I love watching, and I love your process. Love watching your process, and that's, as I said, that folio that I'm doing a series on at the moment. You did a folio flip thing. I don't just I don't know, what do you call them? They're just, and it just grew and grew, and it was just so inspiring. It was incredible. So um how does being creative affect your daily life?
um, well, I guess it affects every aspect because I go to sleep thinking about what I can do. I'm always looking at Pinterest, TikTok, Instagram, um, just thinking of, oh, I could put that in a journal, or I could put that in a journal, or so I affects my daily life all the time, and I'm always talking to my husband about it. I know he doesn't really want to hear it, but he's like, oh, that's a great idea. So it affects a lot, I think, because I'm always talking to my kids as well. So yeah. Yeah.
That's And I mean, obviously you have your own creative space, which looks really
Mhm.
lovely behind you there.
Thank you. I do. I stole the room for my kids. It was originally supposed to be their homeschool room, but they decided they let me have it. And since now my oldest two they're out of school, and I just have one in school now, so he doesn't really need it. So it's like, okay.
That's great. So, Tonya, would you say you have a certain style?
I do. I think I do. It took me a long time to find it. But I think I'm a mix between mini albums and junk journals. I love combining mini album elements with my junk journals. That's why I have all the flips and the flaps. And if I could literally turn the page, I would probably put that in there, so to turn and spin and stuff like that. I love it. I love everything about mini albums. So I think that's my style, I think.
Yeah. And do you like vintage, or do you like bright, or do you mix between any sort of other style?
I love Vintage. Vintage is my comfort zone. Um, it's what I gravitate to the most. Um, but I love bright, like I love Maggie Holmes, I love Paige Evans, I love all of those. It's
Yeah.
just that when I go to make a junk journal, it's always going to come out vintage. Is I don't know why.
I think all the Maggie Holmes style papers and that you can still add to vintage anyway, can't you? You know, just it just a little bit here and there. It all lends itself to the same thing, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Personally. Yeah. And I just was wanting to touch on before you said that the lady that inspires you had inspired you with junk journals. I noticed as well that you do a little bit of crochet, or you have done crochet before.
Yes. Yes, I have a whole little thing of crochet stuff. So that's what I started first. I learned how to crochet to kind of process my emotions. I learned how to crochet first. And um, but funny thing, I don't know if I have a problem or anything, but I can't crochet anything useful. I can't crochet gloves. I can't crochet square. I mean, I can't crochet a scarf. I can't, nothing like that. I can only crochet animals. I
That's
think
that's
that's
that's really creative.
I think that's how my
They're,
brain works.
but they're useful. You can
Yeah, I can sit them
they're
around
useful.
and I give them for gifts and things like that. But it's like when somebody's like, goes my husband like, oh babe, crochet me a scarf. I was like, okay. Yeah, it did not work.
Doesn't know. um, Another thing that I also noticed was you had what flipped, for want of a better word, an IKEA dollhouse into
Mm-hmm.
this amazing, amazing featured. Oh, it was just like, was it a fairy house or?
It was a fairy house. And I end up I tried to okay, it was a journey. I tried a lot of different things before I actually found junk journaling. So I found Sharon Ella and she did crocheting. So I learned how to crochet. And then she also did miniatures. So I was like, oh, okay, maybe I can try that. You know, so I did a couple doll houses, of fairy doll houses and things like that. And they were really fun. I actually sold the fairy house, so that was really good. But I was like, this is really not practical, Tanya. You're not going to be able to sell these these houses or anything like that. You're not going to have a because she has a tree in her craft room and it's just beautiful.
Wow.
And I was like, you're not going to be able to do that. That's not something. So you're going to have to find something else. And these are the conversations that I have with myself. So I was like, okay. So that's when I went to journaling. Yeah.
Fair enough. Well, that's beautiful anyway. I had a look and I noticed as well you've done a little bit of furniture restoration.
Yes,
And
yes. I love, even though my degree is graphic design, I love decorating. That is my thing. We are in a 1950s like flat type house, ranch style. So me and my husband are kind of not restoring it, just putting our, spin on it. So it's been a good journey. We're not quite done. So I'm living in a fixer upper, but that's okay. I mean, it's mine. So I got all the time to do it.
that, that's lovely. You can put your own touch on it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah.
So when you're starting a new journal, are there any specific factors that you consider? Do you think, okay, so I want to add this flip or, that type of thing? How do you start when you start creating a journal?
Pick a theme. That's my first thing. I pick a theme. And I try to incorporate elements that go with the theme. Like, so if I'm doing a nature journal, which I'm doing now, I try to see if I can, how many acetate windows I can put in there so that you can put your own leaves or seeds or whatever you want to do. Um, I try to make pockets just in case you're doing nature walks. Um, Try to incorporate some watercolor paper just in case you want to take it out in watercolor. Those are the things that, so like if I do a vintage one where somebody will say, well, I kind of want it to be like a memory album. Then I try to incorporate acetate, because I mean, we are essentially making journals to keep our memories. So
Mm.
sometimes, instead of just putting your picture down on the paper, you might want to put it in a sleeve or an acetate, like an actual photo album. So I think it's the theme that really inspires what I'm going to do. Usually I'm just going with the flow. I don't really have a plan.
Yeah. So are there any themes going around the junk journal community at the moment that you would like to try?
I kind of want to try the slim one, but I I don't know how that will work. It probably wouldn't be slim. It'd probably be big, and I don't I don't know. So that's why I haven't tried it.
Yeah, it'd grow. It
Yeah.
keep growing. It is
Uh-huh.
fun. I did actually try the slim journals, and because I tend to have very chunky journals as well, so I
Mhm.
did struggle a bit. So I think you probably would with all your lovely flips and tucks, but
Right.
you should give it a go. I'd be interested to see how you
How
make
it turned out.
your spin on it. Yeah, it'd be great.
I did
uh,
the oh, I'm sorry. I was
no,
gonna
no,
say
no.
I did what is it? The flip flop journal. I did my take on that, and that was fun. So we'll see. We'll see.
I'm
Yeah.
sure you'll do it at some stage. Do you, so we've sort of touched on this already. Do you have any unique features that you add into nearly every journal?
Acetate, because I love acetate. Um, Maybe printing on transparency, because I really like doing that. I think it adds a really nice element to your journals. Um, and I'm gonna always have a pocket. I'm always gonna have a pocket. It doesn't matter. I'm always gonna have one. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So with the transparencies, I tried to print on transparencies. What sort of printer do you have? And is there something, it just all beaded on mine. I don't know whether I've got the wrong sort of printer or the wrong type of transparency. What do you do? Can you give us some hints?
Uh-huh. I'm gonna show you right now. Hold on. Just set up a little thing on it. Okay. Um, so this right here, can you see
Mm-hmm.
it?
Yeah.
It's for inkjet, right?
Yeah.
So you get the one that is for inkjet, and is I got this on Amazon. And when you open it, don't do like me, because I don't do like me. But when you open it, it's gonna say print on this side. So every one of them is gonna be on this side. So you keep that label on there, make sure you keep it, and you just print on that side. I messed it all up, so it's a guessing game for me, but if you do it right, it won't be for you. So
Okay. So there's not
this
a
makes
rough side or a smooth side?
no on some of them, there are. On some of them, one I bought one kind of smelled like cheese. I don't know if it was because of the paper or whatever. But it had like a rough side and
Mm.
a smooth side. So you would print on the rough side.
Mm.
But this one is smooth on both sides. So
Okay. Yeah.
but it
I-
works.
Well, I picked up a few sheets from an op shop, and I don't. It said that it was for an inkjet printer, but maybe it wasn't because it just didn't work. And I tried to sand it a little bit as well, but then it still didn't work. So I'll have to go to the office supply shop and have a look and get the right one and have another go.
Because they print out really, really beautifully. Once you print it out on transparency, it prints out so pretty.
Mm. Do you need to leave it to dry for a bit, or
No, not
no?
really.
Works,
No,
just can use it straight
just take
away?
it out. Just take it out your printer. I set it down for maybe like a second, and then it's good to go.
Oh, okay, I'm keen to get it and try it then now. So I gave up after the first attempt, so I'll go back and try again. Do you have any tips and tricks for fellow creatives that might help them on their creative journey?
Are they first starting out?
Yeah.
Okay, if they're first starting out, don't get everything. That's it. Don't get everything.
Yeah,
You
good
know,
tip.
get the basics, you know, glue, scissors, ruler. If you're like me, get the ruler that has all the numbers on it so you know what you're doing. A good paper trimmer, stuff like that, the basics. You don't need all the dyes, you don't need all the stains, you don't need all of that, you know, before, because when I first started, I got everything and I didn't really use everything because I wasn't into mixed media, you know, I wasn't into watercoloring, you know, I didn't need it. So before you I would say before you start, kind of figure out what your style is. Do you like vintage? Do you like just making junk journals with stuff around the house? Because if that's the case, you don't need anything but
That's
paper,
right.
you know. So kind of try to figure out what your style is before you buy anything.
Mm.
I would.
That's a good point. And in a few videos ago, we discussed even, like you say, a trimmer is invaluable. Like it's one of the best investments I think you will ever make if you can get a really good trimmer. But if you're not sure what your style is, even go and do a few workshops where
Yeah.
everything is provided, where you maybe just have to take a very basic toolkit. And that's a good way, rather than spend, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars on buying everything. And we're all a little bit like that. We always have to have the new stuff. I know that. And but the thing is, you get so much stuff and you get overwhelmed by it all, don't you?
Yes, you do. You do not need three printers like I have three printers. You don't need that. You just need one good printer, you know, but
Yeah.
I keep telling myself, well, I got this printer because it does this, and I got this printer because it does that. But you don't, you know, you don't need it all.
Yeah. So do you have a favorite printer?
I do. I I have an HP. Well, I had an Epson, the Eco Tank, and I really loved it.
Yeah.
But it was obsolete and it just didn't work anymore. So I had to get another one. So I ended up getting an HP inkjet. I think I got that from like Walmart. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think you guys have Walmart, but I got it from Walmart and it was really cheap. And I like it because I can get instant ink and you know there's semi ink and I pay a subscription.
Yeah.
It prints double sided and it prints full sheet pages, you know, like borderless.
Yep.
So I like that one. My other one that I like is my Canon. Is a TS9 520. It prints 12 by 12 and it prints different scales and stuff like that. So I like that one.
Oh, good.
Downfall, it doesn't come with any ink plan. So once you're out of ink, you're out of ink.
Yeah. Okay. Inks can be quite expensive, can't they?
They can be. So that's why I like having an ink plan. But everybody, you know, that's
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. So, Tonya, do you journal yourself? Do you write in a journal?
I'm laughing because I do not. I do not journal, and I am more of the person that gathers things and stuff them in a book, and then it's like, oh, okay, I got that. Yes, but I don't journal. I've been trying. I've been really trying to journal, and if I was going to journal, this shocks a lot of people. If I was going to journal, it would just be in a simple notebook. No, nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing like.
So do you think you'd be too, because I know a lot of people have a hang up about their handwriting. Do you think it would be because you don't want to, we'll say, ruin one of your beautiful creative journals that you've made? Or why do you think you'd just write in a plain notebook?
Honestly, I think it's because I'm lazy when it comes to stuff like that. Because I don't want to take the effort into matching my pen with my picture with the you know, so it's just like let's just write it down, let's just slap that picture in it and I'm done.
That's fair enough. Okay, so when you're creating your journals that you sell, how do you strike a balance between functionality and aesthetics, or do you just mainly just get in there and just create? I know you said that you're doing a nature one, and you're thinking that if people are going for a nature walk and they can put leaves and that sort of thing in, is that how you is that how you make your journals? Just thinking what the person that is receiving the journal might use it for, or how do you work that?
With custom orders, like if I was going to do a custom orders, I would definitely ask the person, are you planning to write in the journal? Um, some people say they don't want to write in the journal, and they just say just fill it up with whatever. And I was like, okay, so if they're doing that, I'm making it more like a picture book, mini album type thing. If they say I want to write in it, I'm always going to give them a journaling space. If I'm making a journal just to sell, I'm always going to include a journal in it. Usually, I think my favorite types of journals to make are ones that detach the journal from the actual book,
Yeah.
because you can take the journal with wherever you go. Sometimes you can't take those big old books with you. Sometimes. So I like to have a detachable journal. But if not, I always try to provide enough journaling space for the person so they'll at least be able to journal in it for a month or two.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And they can always create another journal to go in the book anyway. So, I mean, your books would be something that I'd put on a coffee table and flip through. And I'm sure that you could flip through it 50 times and still find something new.
Oh, thank you so much.
Oh,
I don't think people realize how much anxiety I have creating a journal. It's always, are they going to like it? I hope they like it. In the back of my mind, that's always what I'm thinking.
What's not to love, honestly? I sound like I'm gushing now, but they're just amazing. You've got to go and check out Tonya's channel and just check out her journals. They are just something out of this world. They're really incredible. So, Tonya, how do you engage with your community of creatives, and has this influenced your body of work at all?
You know what? I usually just do Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. I have been thinking about doing like YouTube membership. I want to do more. Only thing is, with Patreon and memberships, I'm thinking about, okay, am I going to have time to put into YouTube and that? So right now I'm trying to keep it simple. I know everybody's like, well, do you want to do a class? Not really. I don't really want to do a class. I don't think people realize how much of a lazy crafter I am. I don't want to give you guys the measurements in the class and print out the sheets and all that. It's so much work. It seems like so much work.
It is. It probably stops that creative process for you then too, doesn't it? If you're someone that really gets in the zone and just goes with it, if you have to stop and write every, instructions down on that, it stops that creativity, I think, doesn't it?
It does. And that's what I was thinking. I was like, maybe I should just do like, maybe in the future, I'll do like the partnerships. And then that way I could just turn on the camera and say, hey, this is what I'm doing. And you guys can ask me questions. That works for me.
Yeah.
I think I might do something like that. Patreon, I'm not really, how do I say it? And I don't want to sound, no, I don't know if I want to be able to give my information free. That's what I'm saying. So I don't know if I feel comfortable enough doing that just yet. Everything that I have learned, I learned from people for free. I did. I think I only paid for 2 classes, and that was Nick the Booksmith and Amity Bloom. But other than that, everybody has been so generous on YouTube and given me free information. So I don't necessarily know if I want to do that.
Yeah. And I mean, you've got to be comfortable with what you do. I would definitely sign up for Patreon if you went Patreon. I know there would be good, but I understand what you're saying. And because I'm very similar too, I've learned everything, well, a lot of what I know I've learned from other junk journalists on YouTube, so it's it's all about sharing what knowledge we've got. There's no point in keeping it to ourselves. You know, if we can help someone else learn something, that's what we're here for, isn't it? That's why I started my YouTube channel, is to share what I know, you know, and I learn something every day from someone new. So I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. And it's a big commitment, I think, as well. Not that I've done it, but I would imagine it would be a big commitment to, you know, make sure that you've got regular content for your
Right.
Patreon.
Yeah, and I don't want my YouTube to go, because I don't make a lot of videos as is, and I
Yeah.
could imagine me trying to do both, and I think that my YouTube will go lacking in um my YouTube subscriptions, or my YouTube subscribers would be the reason why I did that, and I wouldn't
Yeah.
want them to feel slighted, you know, if somebody couldn't afford it. But that's just me, you
That's
know.
fine, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. Could you tell us of a memorable experience or a story shared by one of your customers or your subscribers regarding their journaling or creative journey?
I can share the first person that had over 40,000 subscribers to buy a journal from me, and that just made my day. Um, Genevieve Designs, you guys know I talk about her all the time. She actually bought a journal from me, and I was flipping through a journal. I had made it for somebody, and she messaged me, and she's like, "Tanya, I would like one." And when I tell you, I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna do it," you know. So it was a like, I don't know. It was just so cool. I mean, this lady that I follow, she messaged me and asked me to make her a journal. That was cool. That was really cool. And it was cool that Tim Holtz recognized me, like me. He sent me fabric, and I was just like, oh my God.
Oh,
You know,
that's amazing. Oh, so
so
tell us a bit about that. When did that happen?
so I was featured in this artist group for African Americans, and I think he's a lot of those people, what we did was we got partnered up with people that were like, some people got partnered up with Heidi Swab, some people got partnered up with just a lot of different people, and um he sent each one of us like something. It was so cool, and he would comment on it and things
Wow.
like that. So it was like a partnership that I was in, like I don't know, it was a couple years ago, but just the fact that he knew who I was and he followed me on Instagram, I was excited. Like, oh my God, Tim Oates follows me on Instagram. I don't know if he ever looks at it, but I'm just like, I don't care.
Well, that's great. So that should give you some confidence. You know, you say that you always question yourself whether you know, anyone really wants your journals, or you know, you worry about, are they going to like it? I mean, that's a really big positive there.
It was huge. I mean, I was my brother. It was so funny. He says, I was trying to figure out who this guy was because I don't know him. He said, so I went to go look at his Instagram, and I was like, oh, okay, now I understand why she's gushing over him. I was like, yeah, duh. Like, duh.
I think we all loved him,
Mhm.
just as a
Yes.
person anyway, as well, isn't it? I'm not, you know, just disregard his products, but he's just a lovely, genuine guy, I think. So,
Right.
yeah. Well, that's great. Congratulations. That's fantastic. So, where do you find your inspiration for your creations, and how do you stay motivated to create new and unique products?
Most of the times it's with mini albums. I'm always looking at mini albums and trying to figure out how to incorporate them into my junk journals because I love mini albums. So um if I'm not looking on Pinterest at a mini album, or on YouTube or something like that, some TikTok or something. Yeah. And staying motivated, that one is kind of difficult for me sometimes. Um, I think what keeps me motivated is knowing that, well, Tanya, you got to do something. I mean, you can't not do anything, you know. You bought all this stuff, you can't just let it sit in there. You got to do something. So
Yeah.
sometimes life, stops you from
Mm.
creating, I don't know if it's bills, I don't know if it's, circumstances. It just stops. And I don't think as creatives, we a lot of things stop our creativity, our emotions, because that's what we do. We create off of emotion.
So when you do lose your mojo, is there something in particular that you sit down and do? Like, do you start creating a masterboard, or do you tidy up, or what is it that sort of gets the creative juices flowing again?
Most of the time when I lose my mojo, I literally just take a break. Because that's my brain telling me I'm tired, So sometimes I don't even come in my craft room for a week. I'll read a book, I'll start a crocheting project, I'll binge on Netflix, something like that, to get my mind completely off of what I've been doing. And then eventually, something to pop up.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. Do you have, like me, do you have lots of journals that you've started and not finished?
Uh, a few.
A
I have
few.
about maybe two. I
Oh, wow.
try to I try to finish all of them. I try to finish all of them, because I know me. I'm not going to go back to it. If I start it and I don't finish it, I'm not going to pick that back up a year from now and say, I'm going to pick it up a year from now and say, Tanya, what were you thinking? You could have did this better. You could have did that better. So I try to finish them all. I try.
Wow, you're very good. I always tend I always tend to go back to them at some
Mhm.
stage and be years later. So I've got, because I find something, oh, I want to try that. I've got to try that. And once I've got it out of my head and I've tried it, I can put that aside now. I can come back to that later. So that's just the way that I work. It's frustrating sometimes, actually.
I
I need,
understand that. I really do understand that, because that's how I am. If I'm working on something and I don't feel it and it's not, I'll just scrap it and just start something else. Yeah,
yeah,
I get that.
yeah. It's only paper, isn't it? We sort of don't need to get all caught up in it and feel guilty for not finishing something. So
Right.
So one of the questions I was going to ask is, where do you create, and do you have a dedicated space? But you do, obviously. You have a beautiful studio there that's in the background we can see.
Thank
So,
you.
and do you enjoy having your own space? Well, you
I
said you
do.
took it. Yeah, you took it. Sorry, your son allowed you to have that space. So, do you find that it's just you go in there and you just forget about everything once you start creating?
I do. Some days I come in here and it's like I'm listening to music. I have my playlist, one of my playlists on, and it's just like, yeah, okay, the sun is shining, I'm like, okay, it's good. Some days I come in here and I'm like, oh, you just go back in your room. But but for the most part, I love it. I really love it. I think I have an updated tour on Instagram and on TikTok. If you guys wanted to go see it, I have because I've switched it around a little bit. So yeah.
I'll have to go and check that out. I haven't actually got onto TikTok yet, a bit behind the
Really?
time. So yeah, I'll have to look into that. I have trouble keeping up with my social media that I have at the moment, let alone adding something else to it. So, but apparently there's a lot of creatives on TikTok now.
It is. It's when I started it, I was really apprehensive about it, but I just used it like as a diary. This is what I'm working on. This is what I did. Nothing too, it's not as strenuous as YouTube, so I don't
Mhm.
have to really edit things like that. So it's just like, hey guys, I'm working on this, ask me questions basically, and that's what it is. So it's been pretty
Okay.
cool.
Okay, I'll go and check it out. I'll try and find you on there. So,
Okay.
do you have a favorite technique or tool
A favorite technique to doing
in your
like
journals, or a favorite tool that you use?
favorite tool. What do I use all the time? Um, well, I use my sewing machine all the time. I love my sewing machine. Um, And I think I don't really have anything other than my sewing machine that I just use all, well, my scoreboard. Um, that that's it. Other than
Yeah.
that, I mean, of course you got the basics, but other than those two things, I think I wouldn't be able to make a journal without those. I tried to do it. I tried to not sew. It was really weird, but I tried it.
I'm with you on that. If anything sits still for too long here, it gets sewn.
Mm-hmm.
I can't. I have tried. I do some things, and I don't sew, and I'd have to say I don't particularly love it. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. It just adds a different element to your piece. But then I look at other people that don't sew or stitch, and I love their work. So I think it's just what we love to do, isn't it? It's just adding a little
Right.
bit more. Yeah, I love sewing. I have got two sewing machines that I use for paper, and one of them died the other day. So I'm very sad. I'm down to one. I'm scared. What happens if that one breaks?
So, what kind were they?
A brother. I don't know the model number. It's a brother
Mhm.
machine. I've had it for years. It's a workhorse. I've sew on it every day. So I can't complain, but I do teach some workshops. So I like to have a couple of machines that people can use at one time. So I think that machine that I've got is discontinued now. So I'll have to try and find another one. So, but it's okay. I think I've had it for about 6 years and used it every single day. So
Yeah.
it's been kind to me. I'll have to
Yeah.
I'll have to
Mhm.
let it go and get a new one, I think. um, have you faced any challenges throughout your creative journey with regards to anything in particular? Anything that stopped you from creating that you want to share with us?
Thing that stopped me from creating the most is negative comments. And I know um not just comments on YouTube, but when somebody actually comments about your work or something that you have sent them or that they ordered, and they message you, and it's devastating, and it's very hard. And I know people say, well, grow thicker skin, but it's very, very hard to pick yourself back up and get back in the ring and start creating again. So I think last year was the first time ever that I had somebody dislike what I'd done.
Oh, Tonya,
And
really?
it was very hard. It was very difficult. So, and I know that comes along with the territory. You put yourself out there, and everybody's not going to like you because maybe they see that they don't like the way you hold your hands or the way you talk or something. And that's understandable, you know, but to actually attack your work, something that you're proud of and that you put your heart and soul into, I think that was really hard for me. That,
Oh,
that made me kind of want to stop, like, this is not what I got into it to do, you
mm,
know. And I had to really, I took some time. I really took some time. And I think that's one of the main factors um, that stopped me from really wanting to do custom orders like that. Um, I would prefer to just create something beautiful for anybody who wants it. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So I think that's the only negative thing that I've had in my 4 years of doing this is just that comment. And it was just really hard. It was really hard, and it was really hard to pick myself back up and jump back into the race, and okay, I'm
Mm.
gonna make something. It was really hard, and I didn't expect it to be that hard, but it really was. Yeah.
Well, I think when and it's clear that you can see the amount of work and attention to detail that goes into your journals and the love that you put into them. And when you send something out feeling positive about it, if someone was to come back and be negative about it, I mean, I can imagine that would really knock your confidence and really stop you from wanting to create. I get that. It's just, I'm really sorry that happened to you. So. But I think what you're doing then, if you just make something for the love of it and do a flip through, and if someone wants it, that's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that when I create things like the celestial journal that I just did. And oh my God, that is so pretty. I love it. I wanted to keep it for myself, but when I'm inspired to create something and I fall in love with the papers and the fabric, and those are the type of things that I create. And I enjoy doing that. And I hope somebody else would enjoy it too.
Yeah. No, that's probably the best way to go, isn't it? Yeah, I can imagine that would have really knocked you. So we've touched on this a little bit already. I was going to ask you what your future goals are. You said, you want to try and focus on your YouTube and do a few more videos. Do you have any other future goals?
Well, I do, but this is like future. My daughter is she's in school for illustration. Um, and I would love to open up an art studio in our community with my daughter, something like that. I would love to do that. So that's in the works, maybe a couple years from now, so we'll see.
Oh, that sounds exciting.
I have it all. My mind it's there, but I just have to put everything together.
Yeah. Work in progress, hey? If you could offer one piece of advice to your subscribers and other fellow creatives, what would that be?
Don't try to be like anybody else. Do what you like. If you want to put purple with orange, do it. If you want to, mix new and old, do it. Don't stop being you, because when we look at junk journalers and we look at, I want to do that, I want to do that, I want to make it just like them, and sometimes we get overwhelmed with just making it just like a person when you don't have to. So just be
exactly you. Yeah, and we all have different supplies, so it's not going to look the same as everyone else's, is it? So that's good advice. All right, well, we're nearly at the end of the questions. Is there anything else that you wanted to share with us today that you can think of?
No, I don't think so. I really enjoyed it. I don't show my face a lot, and I know people were like, why don't you show your, I'm not the type of person that's like, hey guys, I want to be that person, I really do, but I'm just not. So
well, I'm so glad that you agreed to come on, and I've really enjoyed to get to know you a little bit more. As I said, I love your videos and will continue to watch. And yes, I'm sure that there will be a lot of people that will be thankful that you came on as well. So I really appreciate your time. I like to finish up though with a favorite quote or affirmation that you may have to share with us.
My absolute favorite quote is, well, it's not a quote, it's an actual scripture from the Bible, Romans 8:28, and it's just talking about all things work together for the good. That's it. All things work together for the good, and I love it. Even when things go wrong, all things work together for the good. That's my favorite one. Excellent.
Thank you so much for sharing that. So well, thank you so much once again. I've really enjoyed it. Really have, and I've followed you for a long time. So everybody check out the details in the description box for Tanya's socials, and head on over if you aren't already subscribed and check her out. You won't be disappointed. So thank you again. Yeah, we'll definitely keep in touch.
Okay.
Thanks, Tonya. Bye-bye.